Hello, that was another segment of my YouTube channel. Today we're going to talk about being a hotshotter and the money. Okay, the true facts about how much a person can make out here, depending their circumstances. Okay, so to do it right, you need a new truck and a new trailer. Okay. And I suggest you go lease on to some company for the first year to learn the business a little bit before you go do it on your own. Okay? Because there's a lot to learn. There's a lot to learn about this business, right? Brokers, booking, platforms to find your loads, where to find your loads, what's a good rate, what's a bad rate, what's a good broker, what's a bad broker, how to strap a load, all of that, right? There's a whole lot to that. Now, that'll be another video, but trying to keep these videos shorter and really dissect each segment so people understand what's going on, right? So once you get the grasp of all that and you want to go and make money and what your potential is, if you own your own company, which is the way you should do it, not being leased to somebody, right? Now, there's an upside and a downside to that. If you don't mind your phone ringing quite often for loads and brokers and going back and forth, getting loads and blah, 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 if you don't mind that, then I suggest you do it that way because you will give up 20% on average. Sometimes it's 10, sometimes it's 20, 15, 12, it varies, right? Depending on which company you lease to, you're giving all that money away. And not only that, but they might say the rate is $1,000 for the load and then take their 20% off. So then you're down to $800, okay? But really, they're getting $1,500 for that load and pocketing that $500 that you don't know about because you won't see it on the paperwork or nothing, right? So, this way, if you own your own company, you know what that rate is right off the rip and when you're going to get paid. Now, most of these brokers will say, well, you got to wait net 30 and net 60 and loads and all that. That is a crock of shit. Okay, yes, there is loads and companies out there that pay net 30, net 60, all that. But guess what? 90% of the time you can negotiate that to do 2-day pay, quick pay, COD, Zelle is a big thing. Make sure you have Zelle or Cash App or Venmo or any of those, okay? Make sure you have that. And e-check is another one, right? Next day pay. But most of the loads are CODs, okay? And yes, some are 2-day quick pay. I do that, no problem. I used to do the 7 and 10-day pay. I still kind of do that a few times, but majority of the time it's COD, okay? So when a broker tells you, well, yeah, you're gonna get your own company, and you have to understand, I carry you for 30 to 60 days. That's a crock of shit, okay? They're just doing that to tell you, to scare you away from doing it yourself. And if they are doing 30 and 60-day pay, they have the money in the bank to float you for that, and they know that broker will pay in 30 to 60 days, but you don't need to do that, right? There's no call, there's no rhyme or reason to do that, right? You don't need to do that, okay? Sorry that this vibrates, I'm driving, so I have this on my dashboard. Anyway, so back to the money, okay? If you want to be home on the weekends and you're just going to run locally, you're going to make a couple $1,000s a week, as long as you're going to run your ass off for that 5 days. And that might be, you'll do a couple $1,000, right? And then you got to take your fuel and your costs and your insurance and your truck and trailer payments out of all that, probably going to be left with about 50% of that, right? Now, if you're going to go out for 2 to 3 weeks at a time, well, then you're gonna, and here's the thing, right? You can't live in hotel rooms. avoid them like the fucking plague, because you can't do it and make any money. If you're gonna eat out at truck stops and restaurants when you first get started, you're not gonna make any money. Okay, so and we'll go into how to do this business. You got to watch all my videos because I explain everything thoroughly, right? So I don't want to have a 5-hour video here, right? So, but now when it comes down to it, the actual money that you can make a very, very good living. Okay, all I do and all my drivers do is stay out for long periods at a time. I have one driver that goes home every 3 or 4 or 5 weeks, sometimes 6, just depends, for 2 or 3 days, and goes right back out. And the route is right by his house, so that's why I say that's fine, no problem, right? So typically you got to be out here and you got to run, right? It's like oil fields, right? You got to go out there to make money and buy a house, and then you're done, right? Because it's shitty work, right? But you make a ton of money. Well, this is the same type of business, right? Pretty much. You live out of your truck. You know, you're always on the road. You know, you need to be on the road for, I believe, a minimum of a couple months. Go home for 4 or 5 days. Go back out for a couple months. That's pretty much the winning formula, right? Yes, you have to do 34-hour resets. Or whatever, you take a day off, and you can plan that in Florida or California or wherever the hell you want to take a break at. You can arrange your schedule to do that. Have your girlfriend fly in, stay with you, right? However that works. That's what my girlfriend does. Jumps on a plane, lands, pick her up. She's with me for 3 or 4 or 5 weeks, sometimes longer. You know, she loves to travel, and it's a great thing, right? So it just depends what you want to do. You know, but if you're a single guy and you could be on the road, right? You want to make great money, you stay on the road, right? No, the money differs for what you're going to do. If you're going to do freight, you're going to probably gross $5,000 to $6,000 a week, right? You're going to gross that. I don't know what your bills are. Again, I tell you how to do it. You got to take your truck payment, your trailer payment, your insurance. And you got to divide that all by 30 days in the month, and then you got to find out your daily run costs, and then you take out your fuel of your load and your maintenance of your of that month, and then you come out with your profit on your load, right? You know, so freight, I would say $5,000 to $6,000 a week, right? Gross money. Okay, car hauling. That's what I like to do. I've done everything, okay? I've had a flatbed, 40-foot, flat deck, and I did that for a little bit, and then I sold that, actually, because that wasn't enough money. And then I did a 3-car wedge. You know, 3-car wedges are very, very, I mean, you can put a lot of shit on them, and you can make a lot of money, right? You know, as long as you're willing to stay out on the road, right? You know, I stayed out on the road for 3 months when I started, right? Didn't even go home. Just ran my ass off. I was in a 97 F350, an older truck with paper logs, and I ran the shit out of it. And I was leased to a company, and I think my average weeks were about $8,000. You know, yes, now you got to take all your costs off, and then you got to pay everybody. The truck wasn't mine, so I had to pay that guy money and all that stuff, right? But I was grossing about $7,000 to $9,000. I think I had one week in there where I made 10 grand with a 3-car carrier, right? But I was running, running my ass off. Yes, I was filling out the paper logs and doing that too, and all of that, right? You know, because you can in an older truck, right? Yes, lots of breakdowns. You know, injectors fell out of the truck. It was chipped and tuned. You know, lots of issues, right? You know, so that eats all into your profit. But you know, in theory, if you had a brand new truck and you had a brand new trailer, and you did the 3-car carrier and you ran your ass off on an electronic log, you'll do about $8,000 a week doing that. Now you can get a step deck and put 3 cars, a little heavier cars on it too. You know, little bit more money or about the same. But, a wedge, when you go around corners, you got to be very careful because you can flip over, so that's why people don't like wedges, but I don't mind them because I know what the fuck I'm doing. So that's open, right? Then we got enclosed, right? I'm gonna end up buying a 7-car semi pretty quick and a 9-car open pretty quick, and then I got my 3-car carriers and my 3-car enclosed carriers, which are all state of the art, beautiful rigs, right? So when you pull up with somebody with a Ferrari, you also look the part, and they come back for more business, right? I mean, I have great customer relations, and all of that, right? So now let's talk about the enclosed, right? So yes, people run around with 2-car carriers all the time. That's typically what they do. And people tell me that they can make $8,000 enclosed a week with the 2 cars. I don't believe it. Okay, I don't believe it, right? So I don't even do it, right? I tried it with a 1-car. I have a 1-car, very nice trailer just for that one special car that guy is willing to pay a lot of money to move it during circumstances like Pebble Beach or Bugatti or some crazy high-priced vehicle that needs special loving care and a one-time deal, right? Typically, you can get those one-day trips, or not one-day trips, but those loads, and they'll pay $8,000 to $10,000 for 1 car going a day or 2 or 3 days trip, right? So it makes sense to do that when you want to just take it easy and whatever, right? But typically I do a 3-car, and the 3-car will make $15,000, $14,000, $15,000, $16,000 a week, or every 8 days, I would say, 7 to 8 days, right? Yes, make a lot of money. Loading's a bitch. It takes hours sometimes to load a car in that enclosed trailer. It has to be perfect. You have to get in and out of it 100 times, and not 100 times, 5 times, right? Make sure it's perfect and it's not rubbing anything, and you're taking videos. I have a 24-hour live feed in the trailer, so the customer can see that I didn't scratch it, I didn't rub anything, I didn't mark anything. Sees that car from the minute I put it close to the trailer to the minute that it's out of that trailer, right? They see the whole video footage of everything, and I can email that to anybody or text a file to anybody. And they love that service. Yes, it cost a lot to put that service in that trailer, but it is worth its weight in gold. So they can see that you're not, if it's a stick, you're not burning the clutch out. You can prove everything, right? And then for loading stuff, you use Super Dispatch for pictures, right? Documents everything, right? And it's an app on your phone, right? So Super Dispatch is a very good app to do for before and after and during photos, right? So just protect yourself, right? And most brokers do use that, the good ones anyways, right? So yeah, so, and a 9-car, I haven't dove into that yet, but I'm fixing to. Probably in, I don't know, 6 months I'll have that up and going, hopefully. And that's a different breed, different bigger truck, but I got 2 really skilled drivers that are older gentlemen and been doing it for 20 plus years and know what they're doing, and just amazing guys, right? Your employees are 80% of your business, guys, right? I don't know if you got more than 1 truck out there or what, but your employees are 80% of your business, right? So you take good care of those guys, and they're going to take care of you. And if they don't, then you just get rid of them, right? If they don't care, and if they're hot rodding your truck and putting their foot all the way in its throat all the time, and you could tell that by fuel mileage, right? On Keep Trucking, it tells you how that truck's being driven. You get daily driver reports on everything, right? If they're beating the shit out of your equipment, guess what? They don't need to work for you. People say it's hard to find drivers, right? I get that. It is hard to find good quality drivers. But, you can weed them out and find the good ones, right? You got to make sure they got good driving records. That's key, and a long time CDL, right? That's where I'm at on it all. Is long time of CDL and good quality driving history, right? With good resumes, with good references, real references, not your grandma you're calling and say, hey, that bullshit, right? And a lot of that with the FMCSA, you can verify that job employment because it'll be everything's registered. Everything in this business is intertwined, right? The insurance is intertwined with DOT. Your driving history is intertwined with DOT. I mean, everybody knows what everybody's doing in this business, right? So if you screw up and you're not honest about it, they're going to find it, right? It's not hard to do. It's a phone call and a report, and you know everything about that driver, period, right? So if you quit a job and you beat the shit out of a truck, or you've gotten an accident, or you don't listen to what the load is and take care of all of that, guess what? That's all on your driver report, and your next job can see that. I know a guy that was going to hire a guy. He's a company owner, and so this guy quit this one job because he got a DUI. He refused a drug test because he got drunk, right? Refused it, quit, went down the street to the next guy and said, oh yeah, hey, you got experience? Yep, got everything. Lied on it, stating that he never failed a drug screening. Well, 2 weeks later, guess what? That popped up and he was fired and all of that stuff, right? So you can't hide from that, right? You got to be honest, guys. I have drivers that have been honest with me, and I've given them jobs, and they're good drivers, right? It just depends on what it is. And a driver typically makes 30% of the load, right? That's the high side, right? Some are 20%, and some are 25%. If you're an owner operator leasing onto a company, typically you get 80%, 85% of the load. I recommend that maybe to just, if you've never done this before, then lease to a company for a year and then go do it yourself. But I do recommend you, if you do have the experience, to just start your own DOT MC number and start your own business, right? Because that's where you're going to make the money, right? It sucks paying a broker 20% or 15% or whatever it is, because you don't know what the real rates are. They'll lie to you. They all lie, right? I can literally count on my hand how many good brokers that I know that are trustworthy individuals, and I've met them all in person, right? I've had dinner with them, I've met them, and I know that they're good, sound people, right? In this business, it's hard. I'm not gonna lie, guys. You're gonna work for that money. I again, back to what I was saying. You can also haul boats. Boats are great. Boats are awesome. But you have a lot of liability risk, right? Don't go taking your 4500 Dodge or your 3500 Ford or whatever, F350 Ford, I'm sorry about that, and go pull a 50-foot boat with it, okay? It's not rated for that. You'll kill somebody, okay? There's lots of accidents with people that have too small of a truck that are pulling these large loads, and they wind themselves up in trouble. Don't do it. Pull legal amounts of weight. You don't need to do any of that, right? To make money, you don't need to do all that, right? If you want to haul big boats, go get a semi, and then semis are great. I'm changing the pickups out for semis because you can haul double the load for the same amount of fuel that you put in these pickups, right? Typically, these pickups get 7 to 10 miles a gallon. I got one truck that gets 12. I don't know. It's an odd bird, but you keep your foot out of it. You drive it. Seems to be the sweet spot in a lot.